Okay, you're all in listen-only mode right now. I've got a few slides to go through, and then we will open up for questions maybe halfway through and then at the end. I will be talking as well as Peggy Ullman from Discern. So, nice to hear you all today. For those of you who are not looking at a screen, if you're on the phone call but not the webinar, I'll just indicate which slide I'm on because I did send out the slides yesterday. For your colleagues who are not able to attend today, we will we're recording this webinar and we'll make it available to watch and listen to. So here we are. Remember we said 4 months down and 10 to go when we were together on March 1st. So now it's March 21st. We're past the 4-month mark, and we have about 9 months to go before you will apply for NCQA accreditation. So as we move through these months, we're going to be still emphasizing the things you need to do to really walk the walk as a patient-centered medical home, but we'll also increasingly focus on the NCQA standards and requirements. So I'm going to slide 2 now, and it doesn't want to go. Okay, we had this trouble. All right. Sorry, folks. There we go. All right, I'm going to slide 2. What's the plan? And then I'm going to slide 3. And let's go back to slideshow. So when we were together on March 1st, that "you are here" line was right in the middle. Now it's moved over a little bit to the right. Today, we actually want to talk about the last 2 bulleted items on the right, which are setting your access standards and getting ready for a QI process if you don't already have a QI process in place. And I remember when I asked the group if your organization already did quality improvement in a systematic way, I think 3 of you indicated that you did. Also, when I asked if you did patient surveying, I think the response was 3 of the 10 of you are already doing patient surveying. So we're going to talk specifically about the patient surveys that are available to you, and Peggy is going to cover that at the end of the slideshow. At the end of the webinar. And we don't want to work here. Okay, so slide 4 says access standards, method, goal, and monitoring. We talked a little bit about this on March 1st. I want to get into more detail. Okay, for these access standards, and we'll look specifically at 1A, you need multiple kinds of documentation. You need a policy or procedure that's been in place for at least 3 months by the time you apply to NCQA. So that means think about what those procedures are, how you provide access, what your specific goals are, and then be ready to actually monitor against those goals. So, and we're going to actually provide to you that the coaches have now a template you can use for writing those goals, which should make it easier for you. And I'll show a simplified version of that in a minute. So, but just keep in mind, when you look at, and now I'm on slide 6, that actual element 1A, which is a must-pass element, the header shows up in red in your ISS tool, your online tool, and you want to read the stem to indicate what you need to do. So it's a written process, defined standards, and demonstrating that you monitor against the standards for each of these 4 items. And providing same-day appointments is a critical factor. So in order to pass this element, you need to get at least a 50% score out of the 4 points that are allocated to this element, which means you have to have a written process, defined standards, and monitoring for at least 2 of the 4 of these factors, of which one needs to be factor 1, which is same-day appointments. Okay. As I said, we will provide templates which can help you with almost all your written processes for the NCQA standards. We also have, when you actually do your monitoring against your access standards, we've got spreadsheets that are being readied for you. The templates help you make your decisions. They don't make decisions for you. There are other templates that might be more useful for you. Bob has actually Googled NCQA evidence, and you can find examples on the web. You can find them in the slides that are on the NCQA website. Jennifer just told me that the Medical Group Management Association actually has a set of NCQA documentation that costs $80. We're going to get that and evaluate it for you. And then the Community Care of North Carolina is another organization that has made a lot of NCQA evidence available. A lot of theirs is aimed at the 2008 standards, so you need to take it with a grain of salt. Okay. So let's talk about same-day access, which is element 1A, factor 1. NCQA groups a bunch of concepts together here. They say, you know, same-day access. You might also call it advanced access or open access. Dr. Sinsky, when she spoke to us, called it rapid access. They have appointments set aside for what they call rapid access. Advanced access is really the gold standard, and that's really getting to a point where you're doing all today's work today. So any patient who is interested in seeing you today, even if it's for an annual physical, you're able to accommodate them. Hard to get there, something you may want to do eventually. It's not required for NCQA. Open access, as I said, rapid access is another term that's used for leaving aside blocks of time for call-in or walk-in patients. I think what most of you will be doing is looking at how well you meet your patient's demand for same-day appointments. NCQA allows you to have a different standard for different kinds of care. So you might say, for instance, of people with acute care complaints who request a same-day appointment, our standard is that we're able to provide same-day appointments for 100% of them, or 90% of them. For people who call us about routine care, say a diabetes checkup, something less urgent, you might have a different standard. You might say, well, of those who request a same-day appointment, we can meet 50% of them. think it's really important to be able to meet a large percentage of people who have urgent or acute problems, as well as a large percentage of patients that you triage and determine that they need to be seen. So an example is the patient that calls in and says, you know, the baby's sick, she's got a 102 fever, can I come in tomorrow? You want to say, no, you can come in today. Remember the saying that Dr. Sinsky left us with, which is, we know who you are and we will be ready for you. Providing same-day appointments is being ready to meet the patient's needs. It's really managing so that you are able to provide the appointments that are needed that day. What NCQA says, if you have an already full schedule and you just do what you call working patients in, that's not really managing for same-day appointments. You want to get to the point where you know about how many patients of yours need same-day appointments on an average day. And that average day might, you know, the average Monday might require more same-day appointments. And the average Friday might require more same-day appointments. And you use that availability. You set aside that availability, and you are able to schedule patients for those slots. Now, pretty soon we're going to also be talking about population management, which is the situation where you know who needs to come in, who's overdue, and you're reaching out to patients to remind them and ask them to come in. So it's leaving slots open, leaving enough slots in your schedule open for same-day appointments makes you nervous because you're afraid those slots might not be used. Remember that part of being patient-centered and managing to the needs of your patients means you can reach out to the ones who you haven't seen and who are overdue and say, we've got an opening this afternoon.